There's a pretty exciting cast in DC League of Super Pets. It's headed up by Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, and Kevin Hart. And we've got Keanu Reeves in here as Batman. We've got Kate McKinnon in the film as a hairless guinea pig who is a disciple of Lex Luthor, played by Mark Maron. Very interesting casting there. And a nice cavalcade of different talents. Diego Luna is in this movie playing a superpowered squirrel. And there's some interesting elements and interesting ideas in this film, which centers on the idea of Crypto the Superdog being Kal-El's best friend and feeling a bit threatened by his blossoming relationship with Lois Lane. And there are some great connections and homages to the Richard Donner Superman movie. We hear a little bit of the John Williams music score in there as we have the origin story of Crypto revealed to us. And I thought, okay, this could be really, really charming. But ultimately, the movie ends up feeling completely tepid and cynical and honestly quite lazy, especially when you consider the power and the beauty of the source material that's on hand here. The idea of following the exploits of Crypto and also Ace the Bat Hound and how they meet and how they are connected and the relationships of these pets to these other superheroes, cool concept. The problem is with this movie is that these superheroes that we get to know, of course we all know Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman, but I think the general population still has a lot more to learn about Cyborg and the Flash and Green Lantern and Aquaman. We get little sketches of these types of characters that are more superficial, stereotypical designs of what these characters have represented across all kinds of media. It's supposed to be a comedy, and all of this stuff being put together is supposed to be fun-loving and family-friendly, but it just doesn't land. The animation isn't that great in this movie, especially when you consider that there have been so many cool superhero films, like starting with The Incredibles and Big Hero 6, even Megamind comes to mind. The Despicable Me movies also have an element of superheroics in them as well. The superheroes in CG animation have played a pretty important part in storytelling over the last several years, and when you throw in Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman, and to a lesser extent Green Lantern and the Flash and Aquaman, you're kind of expecting the cacophony to dwarf the rest of the film ideas that are out there that are borrowed liberally from the Marvel and DC universes in the past. You really want this to be, no pun intended, the top dog in this kind of superhero animation space, and it's really not. I mean, we do get a couple of cool little action beats, but a lot of the background animation just seems really flat and stilted. There's some interesting production design ideas, but it's just not visually that stimulating, and the comedy is incredibly lazy as well. I didn't laugh, like have a real laugh all the way through, and that is just unacceptable for an animated CG feature in 2022. I mean, there's an expansive list of awesome CG movies out there that are fun for everybody, fun for kids, fun for parents and grandparents, everybody. And this movie kind of just narrows it down. There's a joke in the film about, what are you guys, the Paw Patrol? And I thought, the Paw Patrol has had some pretty decent episodes. There's superheroics in that series as well. And there's been some funnier stuff in that show than there really was in this movie. Some really low-hanging fruit, some silly gags. Kate McKinnon's got a couple of interesting things. She just adores Lex Luthor and just has starry eyes for him and wants to emulate his world domination. And then, of course, this guinea pig takes on some of the talents of Lex Luthor and ends up becoming super powered, and we see some other guinea pigs have powers of their own, and then all of these other characters that have been around, Ace the Bat Hound in this animal shelter, also acquire some superpowers and some affinity with the heroes that they're emulating. Interesting concepts, but not really well realized. And then I really started to think, what an opportunity for DC to just embrace these heroes and make awesome CG movies of these heroes, starting with a superb Superman tale. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is an Oscar-winning movie. There is your shot across the bow, DC. I know you've got these great DC animated features that emulate the comic book panels and pages and stuff, and they're super cool, and there's been some great animated interpretations there, but honestly, where is the budget for an epic-scaled Superman tale that just takes our breath away? And I think what's crazy about Superman in animated form is that it's 2022. This character is so meaningful and has been with us for more than 80 years, is world-renowned, and I think we still reference that Fleischer animation from back in the late 30s and 40s so much today because it's still jaw-dropping in 2022. It's beautiful work, but there is your opportunity, DC. You hire the best animators, you pop a huge budget into it, and you make an incredible Superman experience. There's that element there, that sort of like tease, that little morsel of that idea in this. But it's so flat and so lazy. And then you do something like that with Superman, you can go into Wonder Woman, and then you can make us a Batman movie. Then you could really explore the origins of Cyborg and the Flash and Green Lantern, show us all the Green Lanterns, but in an epic scale, a Spider-Verse type scale. And no, they don't. Instead, we get this half-assed, lazy, unfunny, head-scratching disappointment of DC League of Super Pets. And I know that this is a kid movie, I know that, but I'm also the target audience. I grew up with these characters. I love these characters. They have the Batman Danny Elfman theme in this movie. They have the Superman John Williams theme in this movie. Like, they are trying to get people like me to care. And I really checked out. I was so bored and so bummed out and disappointed by this. And what freaks me out a little bit about this thing is that, $7 Productions is the producer here. Dwayne Johnson is a star. The interviews that I've seen of Kevin Hart and Dwayne Johnson talking about this movie where they're hitting each other with tortillas and stuff are way more interesting than anything that I saw in this movie. And frankly, I was just shocked. Now I'm honestly really concerned about where the quality of Black Adam is going to be, if this is what we get. With all of these characters, all of these toys in the toy box that the animators and the filmmakers had to play with this film, it's so weak. It's just so weak and forgettable post Spider-Verse. Inexcusable. Total waste of time. I did not like it at all, and there were kids in the theater with me, and boy, they sounded bored. Nobody was laughing. Yeah, lame. I'm going to give DC League of Super Pets a 3.5 out of 10.